In this video, I'm going to discuss why it's really, really important that you get educated on the Georgia property tax appeal process. The reason why I'm really big on education is that people get stuck. People get stuck. Because I have a website, taxfreezecommand.com, georgiataxappealinfo.com, and I have a YouTube channel, people find my information and they call me. Now, as a general rule, I try to call people back or try to help people out if I can. But what I won't do is I'm not going to do a personalized tutorial over the phone. I am not teaching the tax appeal process over the phone. And what ends up happening is, like in this particular case, I just got off the phone with a guy, and I think I spent probably 10, 15 minutes on the phone with him simply because I'm driving right now. I am on my way back to Georgia from Florida. And so I had a little bit of time to kill. And he was basically asking me, hey, have you heard about this law this 10-day law where the tax assessor's office is supposed to give me information regarding their comps and so forth? And I said, I've vaguely heard about it. I'm not a lawyer, and that's not what I focus on. I tried to explain to the guy, I said, even if there was a law and if it was something stated, if you didn't get the information, what do you intend to do about it? And he couldn't give me an answer. He was sort of stuck on that. And I said to him, have you asked for it? Have you called the tax assessor's office to get the information? And if you don't get the information, then you're going to have to ask for it at the BOE hearing. Now, people who read my book understand the framework. Now, I always tell people, and I even say it in the book, I don't know everything there is to know about the tax appeal process. However, until there is a real expert who knows the laws and everything, my book is the only thing available. And it was born out of going over 250 tax appeals over the years, my experiences, my research. I put it all in a $10 Kindle book. It's like a great deal, like all the years of research. Now, will it have every scenario or every situation? Of course not. Out of the 159 counties, I've only dealt with 6 counties, which is generally more than the average person. The thing about it is, as I was telling this gentleman, and I was trying to make my point, he said that he got my book. It turned out that a friend was going to send it to him, and he didn't read anything. I said, how did you get my phone number? He says, well, it was in your book. I said, sir, my phone number is not in my book. It is not in my book. I don't invite people to call me. And I'm not trying to be mean about it or antisocial. What I'm trying to do is that I cannot teach people everything they need to know about the tax appeal process over the phone. It just can't be done. It would take hours to do a complete course, which I'm really not that interested in doing. So you can either watch my YouTube videos for free, which gives you an overview, or you get my book, which will have more information. You cannot allow yourself to get stuck on a particular step. This is why people need to understand the full breadth of the tax appeal process. There are milestones. There are certain critical spots like the BOE hearing or the settlement conference, which you can bring up these situations that you feel are unfair. But what you cannot do is get stuck on one particular thing. You are supposed to do your homework. You should have a clue as far as what you're dealing with, right? And you have to provide some kind of evidence. I'm really not a proponent of people bumbling their way through the tax appeal process. I'm really not. To be fair, I had to bumble my way in the early years because there was no information. There just was no information except for the bare bones scraps of information that was published on a website or by the tax assessor's office. There is no course. There are no instruction manuals for the tax appeal process. My book, as far as I can tell, is the only one which has attempted to cover the entire process. You have to do your homework. You cannot call somebody like me or anybody else and expect that they will explain the whole thing from head to toe. It's just not going to happen. I can provide more direction on email than I can on a phone call because I can direct you to a link, I can direct you to a video, that sort of thing. You can't bumble your way and expect positive results. You may get lucky, but generally, I just think it's a bad thing. So please do yourself a favor. Study. If you care about your property taxes, do some studying, do some reading, get educated. Unless you just plan on selling your property and moving out of state, this is something that is going to occur every year. The tax appeal process exists every year for citizens to use if they feel their valuations are incorrect. Get educated. You will have to put some time. You can't get educated by making a phone call. You will actually have to spend a little bit of time. At the very least, read my book. Do yourself a favor. Get educated. Don't get stuck. You need to understand the big picture. That way, if you understand the big picture, if you have specific questions, if you email me, I can give you a more precise answer. But I will know when somebody who has done their homework versus those who do not. Thank you for listening. Hit that like button to help spread this video, and I will see you in my next video.